And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's satsang with the Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with mystic song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is based on a poem by Swamiji. It's called O Thou Divine Wisdom. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is August the 18th, 2020, Tuesday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Yoga Vasistha. This is series 2018, class number 265. And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatītam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatītam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha Nirvana Prakarana Purvardha, section 6. Sage Vasistha continues giving insight into the illusoriness of the body and the reality of the absolute I am. It's the negation of the body identity. That's the theme of this. It's very profound reality for every person all over the world. The body is your practical proof for what you have gotten. Are you happy? Look at the face. Are you settled? Look at the way you sit. Body identity is not just limited to that. Your body identity, what people see you as the body, that's one thing. But what you see yourself, your body is more your senses. Are they fulfilled? If they are not fulfilled, then I am not fulfilled because I am the senses. I'm the mind, the intellect, the ego. All that is considered body identity. Body refers to three bodies: physical, subtle, causal. But prominent aspect behind that is your physical body. So the masses have to come to understand that the physical body drops. The soul has not gone away. The soul is in better condition. Your expectation is to see the soul in the physical body. And that's practical reality. Yes, physical body is the basis of your soul's enlightenment. So therefore, long live. But it is a means to an end. And in this process of your trying to attain enlightenment or trying to be good, physical body drops. For those who have sensitive understanding, it is not to be viewed as something negative has happened. From practical point of view, your mind will develop a sense of grief, which should stay brief. Your mind should not go on grieving over loss. But that's only a practical reality. The deeper reality, your heart must accept the understanding that the soul is better off. The way the soul was with a particular body, now that purpose of this was is over. The soul is never in desolate state, helpless. Soul is linked to God. And God knows better how the soul has to move from body to body or from body to nobody. So that whole process is soul's own reality based on how it deserves, how much it has spiritually enriched, and if it is fully qualified, the soul will continue to advance until revelation. I am Brahman. Always remember, soul has no practical reality. Soul is, Brahman alone is real. The sun alone is real. All reflected souls, suns are souls. Every soul, every reflected sun has a lot of practical problems, challenges, and so many things. You can imagine all that. But behind all that goes on, and no matter how many reflected suns are in such turmoil, if your mind is compassionate towards this state of souls, your compassion will go into a barren desert. It will be all frustrated because can do nothing about it. But your real compassion is, if you could inspire the soul to understand you don't belong to the bucket, you are not dependent upon the water. All the situations that come affecting your body, mind, senses, abusive treatment given by others, and so many things that are bitter. All that cannot affect the soul's relation with God and God's will, how to conduct the soul to its better status. But how God has designed, you may not like it. So that's your problem. But whether you like it or dislike it, your understanding and your reactions, they impact upon you. They determine whether you are doing good karmas or not good karmas, whether you are positive or negative. So in other words, that's your money. Expecting to gain something out of ignorance is like expecting to find trees in a desert. Seeking mental peace through ignorance is like seeking rest on a burning rock. You must realize this is a very advanced state of teaching. Expecting to gain something out of ignorance means expecting to gain anything out of the world you live. Firstly, your body you are not. The body-based attainments are all, your attainments are realities for you, because your mind and senses are limited. Your dream is reality for you. It has no reality in itself. So, all world experience, if you don't have purpose behind your experience, then all that is considered extension of ignorance. All world experience, no matter how wonderful it may be. But when you are being inspired by spiritual guidance, the same world becomes a means to attaining enlightenment. Then you are moving away from ignorance, avidya, to vidya. But until then, until the purpose has not been awakened in your heart, you are driven by forces of ignorance. In that condition, seeking mental peace is like resting on a burning rock. Always remember the three tapas, not just burning comes from subjective troubles from people around you, an act of God. And that you are always subject to these three tapas. And therefore, you are always like on a burning rock. No matter how you may think that you have now settled everything, put all your ducks together, and now time to enjoy, to rest. This is not criticizing your rest. That's why. Surviving, striving to accomplish something through ignorance is like striking the sky with rods. You become angry with the sky, because always asking you to be expansive. But out a rod and beat it. But the sky remains untouched. So all your action against the sky is fruitless, no effect. So all your effort in this world to experience absolute rest, absolute peace, absolute joy, all your effort is like beating the sky. If you are under ignorance. O Rama, giving intense attention to the body is like throwing pearls in mud, and expecting things of the body is like barking at the sky. Two points are there. The more you allow body identity to increase, you are the simile is given, pearls are being thrown into mud. Pearls are spiritual qualities. Instead of peace, kshama, forgiveness, you go after revenge. Instead of peace, you go after restlessness. Instead of calmness, you go after confusion and agitation. So that negative movement is your opportunity for attaining enlightenment, is a path of picking up pearls of wisdom, developing divine qualities. But instead, you have jumped into the mud, and what are you picking? Imagine. And expecting that in that form of picking you are going to find the biggest pearl. And that would be like barking at the sky. Sky, move away, and go and bark. Bow, bow. Most of the bow-wows of the world are in vain. I'm talking about the agitations, constant agitations. Ignorance is the root cause of all miseries. It is due to one's persistence in ignorance that this world process continues to surge with the waters of illusion. Violent pains and transient joys come and go in the life of an ignorant person. This simple description. The purpose is to enable you to understand the same world. If you allow the world, if you stay under the grip of ignorance, this world will always go on giving you situations of pleasure and pain. You may say the philosophical statement, even this will pass away. But it will pass away to reincarnate. One situation of challenging condition you have faced and it passed away. Now you think that it's over. Even as this has passed away. But it will be born again. May not be next day, but next month. I'm joking. But when you discover that the world is illusory, then that statement, even this will pass away. All that you are experiencing in the world, when you wake up from your dream, the entire dream and all its cream passes away, not to be reborn. Just as carts and similar vehicles cannot cross an inaccessible mountain, in the same manner, no one who abides in the realm of ignorance can go beyond the mountainous experiences of pleasure and pain. Crossing over the world process. The world is described as bhava-vyadhi, disease of the world process. Also described as bhava-samudra, is an ocean of misery. The spiritual movement is to cross over. God is called Taranhar. He is able to guide you for crossing over the ocean of misery. So the entire world process, allegorically, is the ocean of misery. But you have to always understand the same world. If your mind is moving away from ignorance to knowledge, if you are moving away from avidya to vidya, now the same world will become a source of inspiration for you. It's an ocean, it will become the ocean of inspiration. Vibhuti Yoga. God's glory surges like a vast ocean in this world process. There isn't anything in this world that could not inspire you if your mind is spiritually sensitive. रोम रोम में राम रमा है, कण कण में घन श्याम बसा है, घट घट में है साईं रमता. An ignorant person who has become identified with his possessions and his family and family relationships is ever subjected to numerous miseries in life. All worldly based happiness is bound to give you a lot of sorrow. Even while you are alive and things change. For these days, I don't have to give you a big example of it. You ask the virus. Turning away from the light of the self, he continues to fall into the pits of illusion in the form of numerous worldly entanglements that lurk before him. The two movements are there, one soaring beyond the world of misery, being inspired by vibhuti of God. The whole world becomes your teacher. I'm saying quickly, but you begin to receive inspiration from many sources. The very life you live, every effort that you make can be for prayer or for shreya. The same job, the same money you make, it can be led by ignorance, giving in your heart a great attachment to it, just counting your money and doing nothing with it. And be sure it is safe. Oh, get up again. Next day, count again. I'm joking. But what I'm implying, money-based happiness, that's simple. No family in practical world can imagine to be without money. But money is a means to an end. It is not end in itself. So you need money to support yourself. That's perfectly okay. But supporting yourself for what? So that you can become better than what you are by pursuing integral yoga. Integral yoga, I'm quickly mentioning it because that's the main topic of sadhana. By pursuing integral yoga, and in that process, whatever you do with your money will be inspired by you, by fulfillment of purpose, using your money to be healthy in order to be good and to do good. Utilizing the money for enhancing your spiritual wealth. How do you develop a charitable heart? By giving charity. How do we enjoy tender-heartedness, the joy of compassion? By acts of goodness, acts of kindness. Behind the acts of kindness, money will be needed. Many other resources will be needed. The same resources that you could have used to fatten your ego. Now we are using them to allow your soul to evolve. So when you utilize the resources, you are not under the rule of ignorance. From the kingdom of ignorance, you are moving away. That's what subtle meaning is. If you don't have that type of aspiration, then you are completely controlled by ignorance. Ignorance is a big dictator, and you are living in his country. Now, in the realm of ignorance, if you are completely under the influence of ignorance and you do not allow your mind to cultivate divine qualities, then here the allegorical description of misery. In the tree of the mind, there continue to flourish the snakes of desires and expectations. Consider your mind is a tree, an old tree. Look, all the barks are very ugly looking. And it has big foliage, but all type of, not beautiful type. And there are snakes of desires and expectations. And from these, there exude the poison of the world process. So this whole mind tree becomes a poison tree. Just as a peacock welcomes a rain cloud, so an ignorant person welcomes Alakshmi, the spirit of misery and misfortune. Now, if you are in the forest, your mind tree also enjoys, as it were, the dance of peacock. But the peacock that dances in this tree, overpowered by ignorance, that dance is a negative dance. This peacock is celebrating the shower of dark clouds, and what it is showering? Alakshmi. Alakshmi means what? Asuri Sampat, demoniac wealth, a pearl of jealousy, a pearl of greed, a bundle of revenge, a whole box of gossiping habit. And a whole tons of glasses that can give you perverted vision. So that's what the tree is showering. And your mind is dancing with great joy. The lotuses of jealousy, with their petals of backbiting, hovered over by the black bees of worries, continue to bloom in the lake of the impure mind. Give another simile, because poetry is, Kavi is inspired. Overpowered by ignorance, your mind is impure. The impure mind is like a lake, but lake in contrast of pure lake that shines with beautiful lotus, with crystal-like dewdrops, and with honey in it, etc., etc. That lotus is a positive aspect. But this lake of impure mind, lotuses have petals. The petals are here jealousy, greed, hatred, revenge, all those impure qualities, they are the petals. Hover over by the black bees, and as your petals of the lotus of your heart have come to that state of impurity, now swarm of worries come in your head. It's not ordinary mathematics. Swarm of worries. Joke, mathematics. Matha is head, ticks can be easily understood. You live with a constant ticks in the head. So all the grief that collects in your head, like a swarm of bees, not good bees, black ugly bees. And the more your lotus blooms, bigger the swarm comes. Because this lotus is blooming with negative petals. The ignorant continue to suffer from the whirlpools of birth and death in the surging ocean of the world process. World process is described as an ocean. And ocean has whirlpools. And whirlpools are cycles of birth and death. Every soul goes from one whirlpool to another. And in every whirlpool, same thing happens. Childhood, youth, old age, death, birth. Finished, comes back again. You lived a whole life with so much experience, so much work. And now, it's not over. After death, if you have not gone to sadhana or doing anything better, then you enter into another embodiment and you forgot all you did before. You do the same thing. Start learning how to cook, how to avoid being burnt. I'm joking, but I do. All details of life. Start learning from the childhood. Just growing without any, even if you don't have any disease or any trouble, just growing itself and adjusting to your growth of body, change in your mind, change in your feature. All that implies countless challenges everyone has to face. Should be the ideal to enjoy. It should not be. You should not be in the predicament of doing such hard work and feeling that you have secured everything and you have given to your sons and grandsons all they would need. What a wonderful success. And all that becomes frustrated. You come back again and again and again. This point has to be understood in your mind so that you may follow and become interested in following the sadhana in daily life. Like a vessel tied to a rope, the ignorant continue to be lowered into the deep well of the world process in order to bring out the water of ignorance. It's a simile is given, old style, used to be, even today maybe, they are well. Village people find a well as they are traveling through a desert type of condition. And there is a device by which you let a bucket go into the well and it is brought up. If you are intelligent, the bucket goes, just brings the clear water up. But if you are ignorant, you make the bucket heavy, create the device such that goes deeper and deeper into the water. What is he encountering? More mud, more filth. So that type of simile is given. Follow satsanga, etc., you are getting pure water. And you can quench your thirst, be strengthened. If you are not following sadhana, you are working hard, going deeper into mud. And what you are drinking is envenomed. Just as caged birds, unable to fly freely, merely flutter their wings in vain. In the same manner, an ignorant person, tied to various attachments, keeps his vision confined to the cage of the world process. It's another simile. That's, if you see animals, birds tied to cages, you may think how cute they are, but they're not flying freely. And all they do is to flutter their wings. And that they consider, oh, what a secure situation. The parrot feels so joyous. So don't be a parrot. In other words, your vision of bringing satisfaction in your mind to vision of delight should not be based upon attachments that tie you down and you become a bird in a tied up state, in a cage. With their subtle desires directed toward the objects of the world, the ignorant continue to sink in the marshy lands of illusion. Their senses lead them deeper and deeper into the mud of misery. The same intellect that could guide you higher and higher in purer state, when the intellect becomes dull and demoniac, now the very same, under the guidance of that intellect, your senses do things that are senseless. There is a little intermission. Continuing this, illumined by the moon of ignorance, the objects of the senses appear desirable and charming. If you follow the path of knowledge, now the descriptions will be positive. Following the path of ignorance, everything is negative. It's like algebraical plus minus. So it is a minus aspect of poetry. Here the moon shines, the ignorance. And all the things that is lit up by the moon, they appear so beautiful. But point is, the moon itself does not have its own light. It's a false light. Ignorance is allowing you to develop a kind of a false vision. Things that are not really helpful to you, yet ignorance leads you to go after them. You think happiness is coming from outside and you can just get it. Ignorance allows all that to develop. Objects of the senses appear desirable and charming, but in reality, they are the leaves and flowers of poisonous creeper of the world process. Led by ignorance, your running after objects is like going into leaves and flowers of a poisonous creeper. But led by knowledge, the situation changes. Same things I have already explained that point. O Rama, it is due to ignorance that worldly objects, though devoid of sweetness, appear sweet and charming. Though transient, are pursued as if they were abiding realities. Therefore, this tree of ignorance, which has spread its ramifying branches everywhere in this world, must be rooted out by wisdom. Swami Vasistha continued this next section, section 7. O Rama, this section is giving more description of extensions of ignorance. O Rama, the beauty and charm that is perceived by men in women and vice versa. Here it's referring to passionate relation. Relation without purpose. Passion is wonderful. If you have a purpose and you are following to create right progeny and live a householder life with purpose, that's a different story. But if that is not so, then all passionate pleasure, it becomes a negative sinking movement. It invokes lots of grief, lots of turmoil, and countless householders face that problem. When passion intoxicates the mind, one finds a charming woman or a charming man, as the case may be, decked with ornaments as the most desirable object of the world. But in fact, body is nothing but a blend of flesh and blood. Behind the soft paddings of the flesh, there lies terrible skeleton. You don't believe it? Go and ask the doctors. I'm joking. Dominated by the passion-ridden mind, poets have compared the beauty of limbs of the opposite sex to plantain stems and blooming flowers. See, we describe the body is described amorously, and have compared her eyes to those of gazelles and fishes, mridakshis, and their gates, elephants, Gajagamini. But all these praises are, in fact, the extensions of ignorance. The beauty, whatever develops and your mind recognizes, it should inspire you to seek the source of that beauty. You see reflections, the beautiful rainbow, then you should turn your eye away from reflection, see the rainbow. Same beauty, same thing. If knowledge begins to dawn in your mind, it has a different effect on your personality. Otherwise, people will think that Yoga Vasistha is saying not to have any relationship. It is not so. The beauty of the spring season that excites passion in human heart is due to ignorance alone. The same spring season should inspire you how to become that type of personality who is like the spirit of spring. Vasantavat loke hite charanta. But here is a description of a negative aspect. Ignorance is not like spirit of spring, but it is a kind of spirit that does similar to spring. Spring comes, changes the entire forest. Ignorance comes and changes the entire range of your life. The flowers of their fragrance, beautifying creams, ornaments, and various objects of sense enjoyment are pleasant only due to ignorance operating through the mind. Same world, same picturesque scenes of nature. If ignorance dominates the mind, it has a different effect. What you draw in your mind is something good for you, but not the truth. You become more deluded. You don't need to go into too much of logic behind it. See the people, how they go far and wide for seeing a scenery in the Himalayas or somewhere, just with the idea of seeing the beautiful trees or beautiful birds and fishes and deer and all types of things. And beautiful picturesque setting of nature. But when they have come after having a wonderful journey, now see their behavior. All that beautiful thing has not changed their mind. All that has made their mind how to count the money for the next excursion. And glares with glaring eyes, look at why our money is less. So all the picturesque scene you saw, and that's the type of gain you got. So that's ignorance. If you had, you can do the same thing. But if you had a positive mind, Godward mind, how wonderful it would be. And it will not force you to go after again and again. You will begin to bring. You went into the Ganges, you enjoyed Ganges. Now, if you are really sensitive and advanced, you will bring the Ganges in your bathtub. Man changa ta katvat mein Ganga. But if man is not changa, then we would have gone to Ganges. So, I'm staying only in Rishikesh. Should go to Gangotari. Even in Ganga, why the Ganges river? You are not satisfied with the Ganges. Try to understand the tricky functions of the mind. And Yoga Vasistha has no limit of these descriptions. And with this I will conclude. Om Ram 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 Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras, grace of God over all, relieving the misery and distress caused by this virus, and for inspiring every soul to follow the path leading to liberation. Sabko sanmati de Bhagavan. May all develop that subtle divine understanding of who am I, and that I am alone exists. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukumva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshyama Mritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat.
Does anyone have? Are there any questions for Swamiji? Here. Speak a little louder, I think.
Pranam Gurudev. Gurudev, you have described the vichar as more of a science, like mathematics compared to upasana as an art. So during the process of vichar, when the ego or the mind is searching for the source of aham, sometimes one feels that it may be in the heart, the anahat chakra, and other times in the agnya chakra, guru chakra. Is it okay to locate the I that we don't know where it is in one of those spots as you search?
When we said it like mathematics, it's like mathematics, not this. All the mathematics you know is primary mathematics. Vedantic mathematics is totally different. Mathematics means you are not resting only with imagination. In the Godward movement, no matter whatever step you take and whatever view you are having towards your goal, that view is not absolutely truth. And that you have to understand that. Therefore, you are going to go on practicing more and more. But if you stay, when you are promoting your views, it is called upasana. You must see what view suits you. Your heart, it must match with your heart. But at the same time, this upasana is not shutting out your expectation, spiritual expectation, that as your views go on changing, there is a climax to it. And that climax is the truth that will, once attained, now you don't need any view. In upasana, you have to describe God. You have to think of His qualities. You have to present your aspiration, what you want. All that is implied. In that, there is no mathematics. Open your heart. Some mathematics are presented. People have presented how to do stotras, etc. But that's a different aspect of mathematics. But when you are turning to, while upasana is being progressive, what is happening? You are opening your door to the goal that does not change according to your concept or according to your convenience. Goal is absolute truth. If your truth does not agree with your heart, You are not on the right course. So the same heart that can be just the basis of upasana can be the source of jnana. Not can be, that's what the Upanishad says. That's what the word guru term comes, guha, cave of the heart. Now, so that we have to understand. And when we are talking about confusions, that's a different matter of different levels of people. Like a student studying mathematics. One stage of mathematics, parallel lines will never meet. Another stage of mathematics, they are not parallel if they don't meet at infinity. So they must meet at infinity. And so forth. What I am implying that you can view heart only limited to upasana. And for jnana, your mind may think you have to go up to Ajna Chakra. So that's allowed for people who are following that path. It is allowed just like we allow a limited vision of things in the primary school. But you don't allow that if you go to advance. If you go to advance, your progress is neither limited into your old Anahat Chakra nor your Ajna Chakra. Chakras are giving you simply certain basis support for your progress. If you have progressed, then you are in the real heart. That heart cannot be identified with neither the Anahat nor the Ajna. If you want to be more appropriate, it can be identified with the Sahasrara, 1,000 petals. Because if that heart opens, you don't need to go any other heart. So all this is finished.
Swami, I have one more qualifying additional question. During the process, sometimes the mind thinks back as to who is looking. Is it the ego? So that, like a recursive process, is that a distraction? So one should not allow that.
That again, it is for you to decide. If it is helping your meditation and making you more and more relaxed, bravo. If it is creating more tension, then now you readjust your meditation. And in order to do that, Swadhyaya enriches you. So Swadhyaya studies scripture and see where you find the answer and how it feels, that answer, how does it feel to your mind. So therefore no mathematical guidance, that's exactly you have to do. Only 5 mantras, 6 bad. So that there are so many ashrams that teach that firm and very regulated. So many people consider themselves very religious. The more strict they are in counting every beads. You have taken a rosary, it has only 107 beads. For 10 years we have been practicing. What a waste. So all that is childish. Okay.
Thank you, Gurudev.
And we conclude for tonight.